Hello, good afternoon. We're waiting for this to start. I'm going to say hello again in just a minute when I see it's live.
Hi everyone.
Let me make sure it's live.
It should be live right now.
Yay, we're live. Okay, I just needed confirmation and it's a couple seconds delayed. Hi there, good afternoon everybody.
Hi everyone.
Or good evening, depending on what part of the world, or good morning, I guess, if you're all the way across the other side of the world, or whenever time you're watching this. I am Serena Merle.
And I am Cristina Paredes.
And we're here with Teachers Who Tech, Passion for Learning. We are a organization dedicated to supporting education with the integration of technology, specifically related to the idea of innovation, creativity, and problem solving. And today, we really want to focus on you, the teacher, on us.
Yeah, because we are also teachers.
We are teachers, and we are important. And we don't want you to forget that. Don't ever forget that. You are so important.
Yes. This picture, I'm going to explain what is this picture about. This is one of our 2-day trainings that we did in Quito in a private school. And there this was all about project-based learning, and we had so much fun because we did all of these games. So we play a lot, but we also make a lot of different things. Why? Because we think that you learn better when you're playing. So this was our last day, and we were just so happy during the entire training. So here are a bunch of different teachers from different schools, different ages, and even my brother is right there. He was participating also, giving some information about or perspective from his point of view, right? So that was amazing. So we remember that day, and it was fantastic. So Teachers Who Tech, more than ever, we want to support you. We want you to know how important you are.
Yes. Speaking of your brother, who's right there in the middle, this is Andres. He is one of our big helpers with Teachers Who Tech, especially on the social media side. He is always live with us during our webinars and sharing and being able to respond and see any comments that are happening because we do this live. And this is a big part of our webinars, is the live. We could easily record ourselves and share that out. But what we feel is so beneficial is that participation, that interaction where we have our chat, we can see what you're saying, any questions, comments, we can address them during this. So it's not just a pre-recorded, scripted, it's a conversation.
Yeah, and you probably already know that we made a lot of mistakes in our previous webinars trying to understand how to use different platforms, which one is the best. Sometimes we freeze, sometimes we get out of Zoom without even trying. So many different things in this, and in doing all of this, we have learned that the most important thing, especially right now, it's not necessarily to share about all of these technology tools, and our company is Teachers Who Tech Technology, but the connection that we have with our students, with our teachers, with our parents, and in that way we can better support them to go to the next level with technology.
Yes, because education, what is it?
The main objective of education is to develop the mind.
So speaking about all these technology tools and everything, we do want to highlight, and we have here just 2 examples that have come up and are frequently referred to, and this is, not inclusive of the other hundreds and thousands of resources out there. So insert whatever apps, subscriptions, websites that you have used, you're familiar with, or you're expected to use in your educational institution. But why we want to highlight Khan Academy is specifically because of the founder, Sal Khan, and his ideas behind what does it represent, and how is it supposed to be utilized.
Which was very simple, actually. he was trying to help his, I think his nephews, and he was not there with them. So how am I doing this? And then he thought about these videos that he started sending back and forth with his nephews. And then with this, he developed the entire idea of what Khan Academy is, which is a tool to support teachers, to support students. It's not necessarily for students to go to Khan Academy and learn all of these things without any supervision, without anyone there to actually guiding them.
Right.
Right?
And in my school district, in my job, actually Sal Khan of Khan Academy was one of our guests, keynote speaker during our district-wide welcome Zoom, which was really awkward, and there was no clapping or anything. It was just really weird. But he was there, and he did say, like, this is meant to be a tool. This is meant to be a support, and this is not meant to replace teachers. And that teachers are essential. And so having that concept, we need to think, all of these videos exist. And if we think about videos, the first thing that pops into almost everybody's mind is
YouTube. YouTube. You can upload anything. Anything, you know? And that is one of the biggest concerns for us teachers when we're sharing things from YouTube. We really have to be so good at finding these videos, these resources, and how we're going to use it in our classroom. There is now this YouTube for education. I mean, these big companies have done so much for education, and even though they do all of this, they still need us. Because you can't just go to YouTube, or at least most people can do that, right? Go to YouTube and learn something new. Of course, there are people who can do that. But most students, most people, they need the guide of a teacher, of a person.
And what you're talking about of learning something new, you can learn something new. And they're talking about that's the information, that's the knowledge side. But education and school is not just for acquiring knowledge. And I would even argue that it's very little purpose of it is the acquiring of knowledge, especially now when everything is accessible, at the touch of our fingers, and we can look up information. It's not like, 50 years, 100 years ago, where teachers did hold a lot of that knowledge and they imparted that knowledge onto their students. No, students have access. We have, they have their different devices, and the schools, whether they have, technology centers or libraries and things like that, we do need to learn how to filter that information. And that's a skill that's taught in school about that critical thinking, which we'll get to in just a second. But the knowledge side, it's there. It's there for us, and I can go on YouTube and learn how to do something. Okay, I learned how to do it, but there were so many other skills that I needed to develop before I can do that, and before I can put those into play. And the other thing is you're looking at a screen. But in order for us to have any sort of interaction, any event in our life requires interaction with others.
So then I have this question again. Why are us teachers important? You talk a little bit about that, right? But we have all of this available information there. If you already have some ideas of where you're going, and I think most of students have some ideas, then it should just go to YouTube or Khan Academy or BrainPop. We have free resources for everything.
Yeah.
So why do you think we teachers are important?
Well, if there was ever a time to get rid of teachers, it would be now. Because they could just figure it out. And there are some places that did. China being the first because of the pandemic striking there first, but also just their resources with broadcasting and a little bit more of overarching government system here. in that, okay, we're just going to share videos on the public TV channels for students to receive classes this way while we're figuring out, in the meantime, digital learning. They put that into place right away. But it was a tool and it was temporary.
And now they went back to classes. Yeah, they all are wearing masks and all of that, but teachers are back.
Yes.
So what you're saying, like, this is the moment where we can get rid of teachers. This is precisely the moment where we can't
but
do
it
that.
didn't. Yeah, we didn't. Why? Because we're important.
But why are we important? We're still not there. Here we go. Again, the main objective of education is to develop the mind. In education, we teachers, you are the ones developing the mind. And we'll talk about this, but the mind is very complex. How to do this? Okay, there it is.
Okay. So I think it's not so much teaching of like, I'm going to tell you step by step and you're going to memorize exactly what I tell you. But teachers are very much more guides of learning. And in this process, if I have a guide, well, the guide's going to show me, but I'm the one going on that journey, and I'm the one deciding how much risk I take, and do I want to take a picture of this or not? I'm thinking of a tour guide right now, but but still, in that sense, like, the guide knows the information. You can ask questions to the guide, and ding, ding, ding. That's the big difference with synchronous and asynchronous. I know that there's some people that now cringe at those words because they're just so buzzwords right now. But having a live class, whether that's virtual or in person, gives the opportunity for personalization and feedback and asking questions. You can't ask a question. You could type a question and maybe they'll get back to you, like in a YouTube video or something, but maybe not. And most of the time people just put not helpful comments. And so being able to immediately ask a question, get feedback, but not only just verbal. Our nonverbals are so important in our communication skills. And so teachers do this all the time. They can sweep the classroom and they're going to see faces like, and immediately they already know that that child's not getting it.
And now it's even better. We have all of them in this tiny little screen, and they're like this size. No one can hide. Oh, okay. They can. But if they're not, and all of their internet are working just fine, then you can see their expressions. It's priceless. I mean, I've already seen this with visiting different online classes, and you can see, kids are happy, kids are sad, they look tired, they're just fine, they're getting the information, they're clueless about the information, all of that. We are the ones actually organizing all of this in our minds, and then with all of that information, how do we help our students? So these are some of the skills that are very important. We talk about this: collaboration, communication, creativity, and critical thinking. So crucial, not only because without this, we wouldn't have done anything or have what we have right now. So I'm thinking about the future, right? Students need to have this, but it has to be meaningful. Not like you're gonna work in groups. And that's the collaboration piece of this, because the book says that you have to work in
well, even
groups.
with that doesn't happen when you're at home virtually, or it's really, really, really hard for it to happen. Even if it's forced, there's still skills there that you're working on in order for you to be strong, independent people that can function in society.
Yeah, but we know the best teachers, before they go into send students in groups, they show them what is collaboration, right? Okay, so we want to foster these skills. We want our students to be really good at this, and we are actually showing this to our students right now because of this COVID-19. We teachers have to do all of this like really good, right? Like, we are so good at collaborating. How many meetings do you have?
I think I could be okay with a little less critical thinking, please.
But so creative. We teachers are so creative now. Like if you've seen all of these teachers doing all of these amazing things to get the students' attention, to show them what is to participate in a classroom. It's just intense. It's amazing. And we want the same thing to our students. So we're showing actually this to our students.
Yeah.
So this is why we are important.
Right. This is not knowledge. You can't get this on the videos. You can't, because there has to be a back and forth. There has to be a direct line of feedback in order for us to really consider these aspects. And considering these aspects, we really have to think about the mind.
The mind.
Again.
So here we go. The mind. Oh no.
The main
objective of education is to develop
the mind.
What's the mind?
Okay, it's hard to say. What do you guys think is the mind?
Complex, huh? Even when you look at the dictionary, the definition is not like straight to the point.
It's like the brain. Okay, well, the brain is the organ in our head. It's very physical. It's easier to define, and that's still kind of hard to define, right? But like your heart, okay. But the mind is a very abstract concept that we have created, representing our conscious awareness. But really, it goes through, our definition from the dictionary states that it involves imagination, our perception, our thoughts, our judgments, language, our emotions, and our instincts. And there's probably a lot more in there too that we could even develop further.
Language. And if you're thinking just about language, and there are a lot of languages in the world,
language.
Then that's probably different for everyone.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes.
So the mind is not something simple to define. And somehow we teachers, you teacher, you are helping the students to develop their minds.
Yes. So just
That's
breaking apart a couple of these.
Yeah.
The first one on our list that we love the most is imagination.
Yes.
And to develop our minds, we need to be able to have free roaming capability of our minds, to where there are no right or wrong, there are no
grades.
Boundaries, there are no grades or expectations. There's just free opportunity to develop.
Talk about your example.
Okay.
The window example.
The window. We were talking about tall, and in one of my classes, and in this, how tall is something, and how you can also think about buildings and how high something is, because it's an easy reference point for us. There's buildings everywhere, and I can think of, a 1-story building versus a 10-story building, and think of how tall that is. And so what I had my students do was say, okay, right now, is there a window by you? Yes. Okay. Now, there's going to be an animal that's going to look at you from your window, from the outside, and you need to draw him on the ground. And so students that live on the first floor maybe drew a horse or a cow or a moose, because they're tall animals, but they can just look inside. And then some students I have that live on the 4th floor or the 8th floor of apartment buildings, and they drew like these big old giraffes with big long necks, or dinosaurs, or like a monkey with this really, really long arm. It was really cool.
Do you know what I thought right now?
What?
What about colibri?
A hummingbird.
A hummingbird. Colibri en español. A hummingbird. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if it is
it's just floating.
bird,
any bird could be right there anyway.
But it has to be looking at you, so it has to stop.
Yeah.
It's not any bird.
It could be.
Could be.
Could be a crow.
I mean, it's like going just like this.
A flamingo. It's just flapping right there. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But that's the imagination side. And in this case, we do drawing exercises a lot, or word exercises, language, right? So associations, right? If I say apple, what's the first word that comes to your mind?
Bananas, you're saying. And because this is about also the area where you're living, right? The mind. I mean, depending on the country, I'm from Ecuador, so after apple, bananas were not there. I was thinking apple. What did I say before? Apple juice. Oh, I said apple juice. Yeah, so different. Anyway, let's go back to the developing the mind. So the mind, so complex. The other thing that I think it's very important to talk about are the feelings.
Yes.
Because we teachers, we help our students to understand their feelings, right? They're feeling frustrated. They don't want to do something. Oh, well, I told my students, if you don't want to do something right now because you're frustrated, that's okay. You can sit right there on my chair, stay there for a little bit. You can grab a piece of paper. It's do this and
I do
throw it on the
ripping.
floor, you know? Okay,
Rip the paper.
I don't want my student to stop feeling what they're feeling. Like, don't cry, it's okay. No. You know, we teachers, we understand that don't cry, it's not the thing to say, right? So what's going on? Let's talk about it. You want to cry? Cry. Let's cry together. I even say that. Sometimes I cry with my students. But we are so good at understanding our students, and this is why we're so important right now. Khan Academy, YouTube, Brain Pop, all of these cool tools will not replace us because, first of all, we give feedback live. And then, how are they developing this imagination? If you're frustrated, who's coming there to say, like, don't be frustrated, it's okay, and all the answers are equally important. You know, like all of those things that we need from the teacher, because we admire teachers. We are role models for our students. So we are there helping to develop their minds.
And the influence that we have is so huge because aside from parents, teachers hold that ability to be the greatest influencers on a person's life. And not just children, like adults. We all have our memories of our teachers. And how come we can remember them so well is we spent like 6 to 8 hours with them for 180 days or more if you had the same teacher. Or, you know, they're very just present in our lives. And so we were raised by our parents and our teachers. There's a joint responsibility there. And so the influence is huge.
Yeah, that's true. I wanted to say something a little bit more challenging. Like some students, they only have teachers.
That is true.
So that is why our role is so important. So the computer, the videos will never do that. They will never be able to support this child, especially the child that need this interaction. So right now we have these videos, we can talk with our students. It's going to be a synchronous time and we have to make the best of this time. Yeah, it's challenging, we know, but our role is so important and we will find a way to make this work. And then when we go back to the normal, I'm not sure that's ever going to be like normal, but
nothing can ever go back to what it was before because we are changed by what's happened.
Of course, teachers who tech, now for sure I can say that pretty much all teachers around the world understand technology in a different way.
Oh no, I don't do that stuff. I don't know any of that. Now they do.
Technology, computer science. No, technology, everyone. Now you understand. So perhaps some teachers go back to school and they actually use, some of these crazy tools that they just learned. So all this time also help us to get better at all of these crazy things. All right, so during this webinar, we talk about 3 important things. Free educational tools. Yes, they're cool. Yes, they exist, but we are the ones who are guiding our students. We can use some of those tools to guide our students.
But they're tools.
They're tools.
You can't just have a hammer and a screwdriver and nails on the floor and expect the house to be built. We need to utilize those tools, and you have to know how to use them. So we, the teachers, are going to be, in this case, the bosses or the experts in these tools, and then the students are going to be trying to figure out how to use them. Now, I wouldn't trust a house for first-time hammer users, but it's the metaphor here is that it's a tool. It's not replacing teachers.
Yes, and we know teachers, we are guides. We encourage our students to develop crazy ideas, to be the best they can, and that's why we're never gonna get replaced by any type of crazy technology, because we are the best. And finally, because we develop our students' mind.
Yes.
Okay, so there it is. This is why we teachers are so important. I should put so important there.
So, there's like a big space there. So important.
Thank you so much for being with us. We are very happy to continue building this community, and we are here Mondays and Thursday talking about education, talking about challenges in education, but also the fun parts of it. And we hope to see you in our next webinar
on Thursday, which is October. Crazy.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great rest of September.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you soon. Bye.